And if people would like to continue to assist you with food and supplies, donations, what do you need the most? And how would they go about doing that?
So financially, obviously, vetting is extremely costly, so monetary donations are always welcome. We are always in need of blankets and towels, newspapers, toys for the dogs, and we really love the small, soft training treats. They fit really well into Kongs, so we are able to provide some enrichment to the dogs. Do you have any?
Nope, you went through the list that I was.
And is there
and paper towels. A million paper towels.
And is there a specific place on your Facebook page or website where people could go and do that or see what you need or that would explain to them the best way to do it?
We generally will do a post to say, you know, these supplies are getting low. Can you help us out? There are always things that we need. Treats right now have been very much in demand. Paper towels for cleaning, we've gone through in abundance.
If you're looking to make a monetary donation, we do have a link to our PayPal right on our Facebook page. There is also a link to our Square. I know that when we first got started, there were some complications with our Square processing. So if you're more comfortable, PayPal has been really wonderful.
Yeah, we made the switch over, and it was a good switch. And it was just the number of donations were coming in so quickly that Square couldn't keep up.
Right.
Yeah.
So go to the website or Facebook page to see how to donate. Don't just call Chewy and have things sent to the.
You can absolutely.
You can do that. Yeah.
Chewy and Amazon both will ship directly to the shelter.
Yeah.
And if you're looking to drop off donations, you can always drop them right at the shelter. That is the easiest for us and for the sheriff's department.
Not the sheriff's department. Don't go to the jail and looking to drop off supplies.
Right. It's easiest for the sheriff's department if they go right to the shelter, and it is easiest for us too because anything that's needed at the jail is also needed at the shelter. So
yeah, this way they can sort through and determine what we have in supply and then transport down.
And we do have a wish list on our website as well.
You do. The shelter itself, as you mentioned, you're already full to capacity. Shelters in New York State are facing new regulations within the coming year. How is that going to impact you?
We have established a shelter legislation committee. The regulations are, first we want to say that the regulations are very good for animals. They're going to provide the best accommodations for them, and so we are anxious to implement them. The hurdle that we will have is the cost of implementing them. We really need a new facility for our dogs. And we have long needed a new facility for our dogs. Our shelter is very small, and we are seeing, since COVID, a rise in animals that is unmatched with anything since I've been involved with the shelter. And I've been on the board for over 15 years, and I have never seen as many dogs in shelter. And I would say the same thing for other shelters in New York and Vermont.
During COVID, so many people took in pets and then couldn't.
And I also see, I was online the other day, and I saw that there was a facility that was bringing up animals from the south. They were bringing puppies up from the south, and you know, everyone is happy to see that an animal is saved, but their shelters are full of animals that do need to be saved. So it's difficult to just, you know, there's a cute puppy that's being transported up, but there are hundreds of dogs
throughout the state.
The shelters of New York and Vermont, I can speak to, we're struggling to, and many of these animals are not socialized. Many of them are very large, so they need the space in a shelter, and our shelter, I don't believe, is much bigger than 1,200 square feet, and we pack it, every inch of it, with needed supplies and space for the animals that we have, and to handle the municipal contracts for strays that need to be done. So we're busy.
So you're in the early stages now.
We're in that very early
building a new facility to handle your dogs.
Yes. Yep. Being in the jail has actually been really interesting for us because the jail cells ultimately are a size that we would like to see our dogs always be housed in.
Yes.
Right now they are in kennels, which is just what our space allows. But
Yeah.
the new legislation is looking to have them in much larger enclosures for the comfort of the animals.
And the jail cells are a good size.
They're a perfect size.
size.
Seeing what the jail cells have, it was weird going into a jail, but the space has been perfect for the dogs. There's an indoor, it's the rec yard for the inmates, but it's been a play yard for the dogs. It's these little things that we don't have that we think to ourselves, oh my gosh, if we had this, it's been like a template for what we're looking to build. It's been
Yeah.
incredible.
And when are you hoping to
We've
possibly build?
We've started our capital campaign. It's just getting off the ground now. We are looking at the property that we have and what we need to do to get that property set for a building to go in. So
And this would go right next door to the
it would go
current
right next
shelter.
door to the existing shelter. What we would do is we would take the existing shelter and have it be used solely for cats. And then the new facility would be a facility entirely for dogs. And that's part of what the state wants, is they don't want, it's very stressful for cats to be so close to dogs and hearing them barking. It's not only size, it's noise. The legislation addresses many aspects of animal care, to staffing, volunteers, our operations, the vetting involvement in operations. Currently, the shelters that are regulated, their review is for municipality contracts. So they come in and check dogs that come in from the community that are brought by a dog control officer. And so this would mean every shelter and rescue would be treated the same as a shelter, and they would all be under examination for all the points of this legislation.
So the legislation is good in your opinion?
Oh, absolutely.
Ultimately, this legislation is going to push us to build the shelter that we've always dreamed we would have. So
It's hard because we have a community that very much supports our shelter. There's the operations of that shelter that are costly. We spent over $100,000 in just veterinary care last year, and that's going to increase. Even just by the shelter end of things, not including this case, dramatically. And when you have your funds directed to that operational need, it's hard to then ask for additional funds to create this new space, this very needed space for our shelter. And I was asked in an early interview, will this close Elmore? And my response to the interviewer was that Elmore has been around. Next year will be 80 years, and we have no intention of going anywhere.
Do you have a target date yet for when you would hope to open the new facility?
the legislation is set to go into effect December 15th of 2025. So we definitely
We will not be ready by then.
but we will
But
be actively taking steps to be ready.
Yes, and we have spoken to all of the parties involved with this legislation, and they've indicated as long as we are working in that direction, they will give us, because every New York shelter is in this situation. Some are closer to being on target than we are, but there are many shelters that are in the same situation that we're at. As long as we're working to do this, and we want to do it as soon as possible, we want this space. Especially after working down to the jail and seeing a facility that accommodates animals so nicely, it's given us a lot of ideas of what our space should be like and will guide us.